Hi, I'm Marsh from StrataGames, and today we are streaming once again. It's been a little bit since my last stream, because I had a pretty intense January, but we are back and playing some Jund. So Jund is, of course, a pretty good deck in the format, and one that I really enjoy playing. You get to play a lot of mid-range / control games, and you have answers to a lot of the things that you're going to be facing in the meta. And we get to play, of course, one of the best creatures in the format, Writhing Chrysalis, which is pretty strong. You know, some people want it to be banned. I think that's outrageous. But we get to play the other creature that's probably also in contention for like a potential banning eventually, although who knows if that'll actually happen. Refurbished Familiar. These cards are pretty good. So these are our main threats. We're also playing a couple Gixian Infiltrators. A lot of people started playing 4 of these, and a lot of lists have whittled down to 2. Which I think is about right. 2 or 3 isn't bad. These guys grow from 20 to 25 of our cards in our deck. Every single time we sacrifice any permanent at all, they're going to grow. And they combo very nicely with Krark Clan Shaman, which is also really important to have in the match, in the meta, because there's a lot of go-wide decks like Red Rowley around. And also just, you know, even using it to wipe away a Gutter Snipe or something can be pretty key at certain times. Our last creature is Sagu Wildling. This is a card that people have started playing as a way to prevent yourself from milling out against Golgari Gardens, because often when Jund goes against Gardens, you just get to a stalemate because all your creatures die, and they, you know, you can kill their creatures, and nobody can kill each other, and then it comes down to decking. And if you have a Sagu Wildling in your deck, you're not going to mill out because you can continuously Roost Seek, put it back into your deck even if you fail to find, and that prevents you from milling out. So those are the creatures we're playing. We also have a Pulsa Marasa for some life gain. We have, all the way down here, 3 Lembuses for some life gain, because Burn is a pretty powerful deck. We also have Nile Spellbombs, 3 of them to get rid of graveyards. One big change that Jund Wildfire's been doing recently is playing no Blood Fountains at all. I guess just deciding that we don't really need them. It is good value, but we can also just draw more cards and find more. Usually if you go through all 4 of your Chrysalis and all 4 of your Refurbs and your 2 Gixians and you haven't won, you're probably not going to win that game unless you are in like that matchup against Golgari Gardens. So maybe the Blood Fountains are just unnecessary. I've played only a couple leagues without them and haven't missed them too much, I will say. So we also have some ramp with Cleansing Wildfire, hence the namesake. We have a lot of card draw with Ichor Wellspring, Fanatical Offering, and Eviscerator's Insight. And then for removal, 4 cast downs, a makeshift munitions, and of course the Crux mentioned before. Our mana base has been pretty consistent for like the entire time Jund has been around. Really solid with 4 Dross Forge, 4 Slagwood's Bridge, 4 Twisted Landscapes, 2 Vault of Whispers, and then 3 Swamps, 2 Forest, 1 Mountain. I usually like 21 lands in my deck, so I usually also play a Bojuka Bog, but the Sagu Wildling basically acts as your 21st land in this case. And I tried playing both of those, so you had 22 lands, and it was a little overkill, I think, so we're not doing that right now. Sideboard is over here. We're playing 2 Go for the Throats, because there's a lot of creature decks that you really need to target specific creatures, like Elves. So we have a couple more of those. Toxin Analysis, if we go against Gruul or anything like that, we can give Death Touch to our Krark, or we can just give Lifelink to our Gixian Infiltrator, which can be really good against Burn. Some Duresses, some Breath Weapons, Weather the Storms, Troublemaker Oofs, and a Nile Spellbomb. So let's just take this for a league and see how we do. Thanks to Card Market for sponsoring this video. You can now pick up my comprehensive guide to Esper Cryo Affinity, including 38 sideboard matchups, and I just put out a big update for my Black Sack guide, including a slightly different deck list. I began offering coaching sessions if you're interested in taking your Pauper game to the next level, and I'm accepting deck donations, so if you desperately want me to play a deck that I usually wouldn't play, something like Elves, then you can make me do that for a small fee. I've started posting a league video every single day, not to mention streaming at least a couple times a week on Twitch, but I'm not going to be able to keep that up forever unless I can get a little bit more help from the community. Any of the ways I've just mentioned are great ways to help me out, or you can even subscribe and support me on a monthly basis. Thanks for subscribing with Prime, Ben. I appreciate it. Yeah, nice to see you too. Yeah, I appreciate you subscribing, even though I have not been streaming too much. I'm going to try to get back to at least once a week, if not more. Had a busy January, lots of stuff going on, so it was hard to make time. But also I was probably slacking a little bit, so I'm going to do my best to do it a little bit more. Alright, we are on the play here, and we have a 1-lander. We do have the Sagu Wildling, actually. Yeah, this hand's pretty good. I was going to say with 1 land it's unkeepable, but with 2, it's a little slow, because this is a tap land, and then this is essentially a tap land. But it gives us all of our colors of mana, and then we get to Wildfire, like, and we're on the play. I think this is good. I think I said good, and then I clicked mulligan, so that was great. Great way to start the stream. And then this hand is bad, because we only have one land. Oops. Well, perfect. We lost 2 cards for not a lot of gain. That's how we want to start. Alright, well here I'll get rid of a bridge, so we have a untapped land. And I guess just the cast down, and we just want to keep our card draw. I mean, this hand is faster because we actually get to play like a 2-drop on turn 2, so it's not all bad, but would have been better to keep that other one. Slippery Bogle, I mean, to be fair, this is going to be kind of a tough matchup for us anyway if we don't get a Krark. And we did have a Krark in that first hand, didn't we? Yeah, so that might be unfortunate. Let's play Wellspring and just pass. And they cycle in Ash Barrens for Plains and Sentinel's Eyes. So 2/2 coming in. We get a Swamp. So I could just play Swamp, Fanatical Offering, the Wellspring, and if we hit a Krark, I could do it for 2. I'd have to lose this bridge, though. I don't think I really like that. I think we'll just do this, see what we turn up. Well, we can play Chris next turn if they don't get chump blockers. No, if they don't get trample, then we'll have chump blockers. That's what I mean. But there's the trample with Rancor and Ethereal Armor. Refurb. I could play Refurbished Familiar, Gixian Infiltrator. I mean, the only way we can kill this is probably if we get Krark, and then we sacrifice 5 artifacts. I think that's our best bet. So let's go for the Lembas and try to find Krark. Not Vault. That's not it. So we'll play a Refurb. And I think we just play the bridge. I could map, but we're probably going to either die or not die this turn regardless, and we'd want to have extra artifacts for the Krark when we do get it. This was looking tough, though. I often like... discard an Armadillo Cloak. I often like to have Extract a Confession in the sideboard, but instead we've gone for Go for the Throat, which makes it a lot better against Elves, but it's obviously a lot worse against Bogles. They can hit us for 11 here. We do get Oof, Duress, Toxin, maybe even Breath Weapon. We don't need Cast Down or Spell Bomb. Everything else is okay. Munitions doesn't do a lot for us. Pulse just gains us some life. Probably prefer everything else that can draw us cards, or like block or something. Give that a try. Alright, we have the Krark, and we just have a decent hand. Yeah, in addition to the fact that I didn't mean to mulligan that first hand, we did have a Krark, so I think that one would have been okay. And we could have maybe won that one, so that was just a little bit of user error. I could just play Krark right now, but we don't have anything we want to sacrifice. I think I just Wildfire for... we already have double black. I guess I'll do red in case I get like something else I want to use, like another Wildfire or something. But we'll see what they do, and then we'll probably play a Krark. We'll duress them, we'll refurb them, might even Roost Seek. Play all 1-drops. They go for an Abundant Growth. Play a Plains. And Ethereal Armor. So 3/3, 1, 2, 3. So I guess if I just play Refurb, Krark, Duress, I'm going to have to sacrifice all my lands to kill this. Let's just start with the Duress, see what we're working with. So this is their only creature. Ancestral Mask, Sentinel's Eyes, Abundant Growth. So probably just Ancestral Mask so that whatever other creature they get is less scary. And I could Refurb, they discard like a Plains or a Sentinel's Eyes. And then I sacrifice 3. Oh wait, I can't Refurb for 1. Because I was going to also Roost Seek, which would be good if I have to sacrifice both of these. But I want to get the Refurb down if I'm going to sacrifice all my artifacts anyway. So yeah, let's just do that. And then Krark, and I guess we'll pass. I mean, I guess they could have an instant speed way to pump it, and if they're smart, they're not going to cast anything else on it. Well, this would pump it if it resolves, so yeah, I just have to respond by doing this. I guess I could wait on it, and I could just like chump block, but it's only going to get bigger and make me sack more things. So I think we just do it now, and they didn't have another creature. Hopefully they don't find another creature. There's a Bogle. Hand a Refurb. Roost Seek for a Swamp. Lembas, I suppose. Land drop isn't bad, but let's see. Sentinel's Eyes. Next turn we play a 3-mana refurb, and then we crack this for black. Yeah, I guess we'll keep that. There's a Utopia Sprawl. Forest, Sprawl, Sentinel's Eyes. Okay, so they're going to be out of cards. This also means I get to refurb to draw a card. I can Wildfire one of their lands. They did smartly put the Sprawl on something else, so they'd still have 4 mana. It does shrink their enchantment count, but currently that doesn't matter. This also blocks, just because they only have a 2/2, so I'm just going to play that. Pass. They got no attacks. We'll get a swamp off of this. Breath Weapon's pretty good. Almost feels like I need to just do that now. I mean, I'll do it in response to them doing something else, but I don't want to tap out and then have them, you know, grow it beyond what a Breath Weapon can do. So we'll just pass to see if I can draw out another enchantment. And if not, I'll just do it at the end step. Yeah, or I could just Fanatical Offering. They must be drawing planes, right? Because they would have buffed it, or they would add more creatures. I don't know. I'm just going to go for the Breath Weapon. Celestial Flare. I was thinking about this for Bogles and Heroic to use against them. That seems like a good card for sure to fight them with. Alright, I'm going to blow this up. Of course, it's white-white, so you pretty much have to be like White Weenie or any mono-white deck to be able to play it. But if you struggle with those, I think that's definitely a good choice. Alright, we won that one. Let's try again. All lands, but we do have a Breath Weapon, but that's not till turn 3. I feel like that's going to be too slow. Naya Gates. Yeah, okay. I mean, the double white still seems like it'd be tough in a 3-color deck, but of course, most of your lands tap for 2 colors, and you get to choose what colors they are. So I could see that being pretty good. I don't think this is good enough. I would rather, yeah, a hand that has guys earlier, duress. I mean, this isn't the best hand by any means. I guess I'm getting rid of an offering here. Like, the greedy part of me wants to get rid of a landscape, but I really want to hit my lands. This means the Wellspring doesn't draw me as much. Kind of think we should do this, though. They go for a Sprawl right away. Troublemaker Oof is good. But I'm not going to be able to use it for a couple turns anyway, because I have to turn this into green, plus then I need something to bargain, so I might as well just lead on the bridge. Bogle plus Mask of Law and Grace. Yup, that's one I probably will need to oof away. So I think I duress, and then I play a landscape, which I crack for green. Sprawl and Malevolent Rumble, they just have a bunch of guys. I'm not too worried about the guys. I'm going to take the Malevolent Rumble. If all they can do is like Sprawl and attack for 1, I'm very okay with that. Or just play a Ledgewalker. That means a Krark would wipe more of these away. Of course, once I get rid of the mask. We're getting green here. Take 1. Offering. So I don't need to Troublemaker this right now. So we're just going to Wellspring and then Refurb. Ooh, Chrysalis is good too. Discard another Walker. They do find another Rumble, which is going to get an Armadillo Cloak or a Forest. They can't quite cast the Cloak, but they probably want to, unless they have another 3-drop in hand, they'd probably take that. Yeah. Oh, they can cast it next turn with this Spawn. That's fair. So I could remove this, but there's no, I can't kill their guy yet. So I think I'd just play this. And this is, of course, devoid, so it doesn't get protection from it. They could put the Cloak on the Ledgewalker, and this can't be blocked by creatures with reach, so they could get past this. But then they're putting it on their unprotected guy, so yeah, they're going to go on the Bogle. And pass. We are going to draw a bunch off this Wellspring. Breath Weapon. Okay, well, they just made it big enough. That's annoying. So even if I get rid of the mask, it's not going to work. So we will... I don't want to take it now in case they get like another mask and then they put it on. I'd like to do it all in the same turn. So I think we're just passing here. I'll go for an offering, draw some more cards. Sprawl. And a Cartouche of Solidarity. Okay, still only a 4/4. Sack our map. There's a Krark. Sacrifice this for, I guess, a swamp. So I could Troublemaker Oof this away. Then we need 4 artifacts. Let's play a Wellspring. Oop, went straight through. Well, I didn't mean to go straight to combat, so we'll waste the combat now. But when we get into Gixian Infiltrator, if I could play that too, it would grow a bunch with the Krark. Can't really afford to, and I don't really want to wait longer. So let's just sacrifice this, exile the Mask, play the Shaman, and then sacrifice 4 artifacts. This, even though it has kind of flying for attacks, it doesn't actually survive the Krark, so they're all going to die and they concede. So definitely some mistakes mulliganing that first hand, but we got that first match against Bogles. Alright, on the play again. Hand is decent. 2 lands, bunch of card draw. I could lead with a Spell Bomb, which if we're against Terror, Spy... Well, Spy wouldn't be the greatest thing to play right away, but Terror, it would be good to get down first. Or I could just sack the landscape to get, like, red. I think we just play the Spell Bomb. It's good against a lot of opponents, and if they're a blue opponent, I'd want to get it under a counterspell. Obviously, that's not the case here. We're going to Wellspring. Okay, there's our land. Wanted to make sure we hit our land, so if I didn't with the Wellspring and our next draw, then I can Offering and draw as much as possible. They have a Rally, so I would have loved to have a start of ramping to a Chrysalis on turn 3. We have a turn 4 Chris. We're just going to pass. I have a Cast Down, certainly going to be used on like any 2/2 or 2-power creature with haste. But if they have just a bunch of 1/1s, I'll probably still use it. Yeah, Bushwhacker's unfortunate. So we're going to drop to 8. Munitions could be okay. Now we have blockers, so if we can survive, the next turn I can like play a Lembas, crack it. We might be okay. They have a Synth. Turns up an Epicure. We could also use a Krark stat. They do attack. And I'm wasting the mana from these guys, which is a bit unfortunate, but I need to not take the damage. And if I do get a Krark, I'm going to want to sacrifice them anyway. But we're going to 6 here already. We could definitely die to a Bolt plus Fire Blast. And we're just hoping we don't. Oh, they have a Galvanic Blast on the Chris. That's... yeah. So we really need to hit a Krark, is what I'm seeing. Another Chrysalis is good, but it only blocks 3. We're taking 2. We die to a Galvanic. So is that better than looking for Krark Clan Shaman? We have 3 draws, maybe 4 if we hit like an untapped land. I think we're gonna go looking. Did not get what we needed. Like really unhelpful stuff. Alright, I believe we have died. Tough start in general for us. We get cheap creatures, board wipes, and life gain. Can take out Graveyard Hate, single target removal. Munitions is just too slow, I think. Gixian Infiltrator is pretty hard to get big enough to be relevant, but if we do, it's good with the Toxin. Maybe we cut like a card draw spell. Try to spin our wheels less. Double Refurb is nice. 2 tap lands is not great. And then all we have is card draw. We're on the play, though. I guess we'll give it a try. I mean, card draw is good to find Krark or whatever, but if it's not on curve, it's a little tough. Yo, a stream. Yeah, we're definitely hasn't been forever since I've streamed. Thanks for joining. They have an Epicure. Untapped land would be nice. Ooh, we do hit it. Swamp. Okay, that means I can Wellspring here, and then next turn I can double Refurb. Weather's pretty good. And they're on 1 land. Ooh, have not seen Dwarven Forge Chanter for a while. They do find their second land, but they had to use a mana on the Blood Fountain right away, which is kind of nice. And they also mulliganed, so this double Refurb's going to hurt. And then double Weather the Storm. I think we're in a pretty good spot on this game. Discard Galvanic and Tomb Raider. Swing with both. I mean, that's kind of what these are here for, right? They get a card off the Percussionist, but we got some 2-for-1, so I'm not too upset about it. Casting the Fire could be annoying, especially if they take our green. We don't have Weather the Storm, but they're also not attacking us then. They actually go for the other one, which means they don't take us off anything. Okay. I could just hold up Weather the Storm, but I do want to hit my lands, so we're just going to draw 3 here. Hope for the best. Do get a Landscape. Wellsprings are good with Krark. And they're going to pass the turn. Well, I'm going to sacrifice this. I would love to have double black, but I kind of worry that like they might cast this into the fire at the end step after I've chosen, and then I'm going to have not any of my colors of mana. So I'm going to get a Mountain. That means I wouldn't have Weather, but I still have Krark, which is probably better in the short term. Yeah, we'll do that. See, I definitely knew that. I could feel they were prepping to get rid of that. Alright, that's fine. So Lembas now lets me see 2 cards to try to hit our land drop. Or I could Wellspring, which only gives us 1 try, but then next turn it gives us additional tries with the Insight. I think we'll just go with the Lembas. Try to get it now. Nice. We were going to find it either way. Obviously now I'd like to find green, but just hitting a couple extra lands is the important thing. Casting the Fire. If they have another mountain, okay, they don't. Then they'd be able to take a 3rd land. They do have a Tomb Raider. And there's Chris. I'm not going to play a Krark for just a Crystal, or just a Tomb Raider here. Well, actually, it fits into my curve. If they do just, like, bolt it before they try to play more guys, then I can sack Map, Wellspring, and this lets us draw another card. Actually, it's fine. Let's just play it. I'll probably take 2 here to prevent them from playing any other creatures, but that's totally fine. Swamp. So here, I'll play Infiltrator and just pass. I guess I can swing for 1. Infiltrator probably draws a bolt and dies, like it's not gonna probably survive, but maybe it does. They crack a Synth, finding a Mountain, and they concede. Alright, got their game 2. We're gonna be on the draw. I mean, I don't hate Duress in this match. I've already sideboarded a lot of things, though. I'm not sure we need more. I kind of feel like the problem with Jund, the reason it's so slow in this match, like in general, and it loses to a lot of these decks, though, is it has so many 2s and not a lot of 1s, and so it's like it's going to just die too quickly. So I actually kind of think I should just cut some random card draw 2 drops for some Duresses. Because if I snag like a Rally at the Hornburg, it could be really good. Or a Cast into the Fire, or even a Bolt or a Synth. Like, there's a lot of hits. We have a lot of card draw. I think we'll give this a try. 1 land is not going to cut it. Alright, we don't have a bridge, which is a bit unfortunate. So I think for that reason we get rid of 1 of these, but we do have Breath Weapon on 3, which is nice. Maybe not having a bridge will be a plus if they can't cast into the fire either of our lands, any of our lands. Would have loved a 1-drop since we just put some more of those in, but otherwise the hand is decent, I think. Assuming they don't have the nuts. Okay, if they're stuck on 1 land, that helps. Now we get a bridge. I don't think I'm just going to play that because I'd rather get a 2-drop down. Let's play a Wellspring. More bridges. I mean, they do get a land, so we'll see how much damage we take this turn. Okay, Ren's Resolve. Goblin, Tomb Raider, and Mountain. So I'm going to just Breath Weapon. I'm going to hope they play the Tomb Raider first so that they get the haste damage, but if they sense the Breath Weapon, which is pretty reasonable to do, yeah, they're smart and decide not to. I could wait until end of turn, but I really don't want to go down to 10 here. Dwarven Forge Chanter? Yeah, that's it. Okay, I can play the Oof, Exile a Blood, which is not nothing, especially if they can't get another artifact. And then I can block. I guess in case we get an untapped land, we'll leave the black open. Alright. Obviously, I could have just, like, played a Cleansing Wildfire and ramped, which I like the ramping, but I don't like that we're going to just take a whole bunch of damage with no fight. So here, I'm happy to trade the Oof for the Tomb Raider. And hopefully not die to this Prowess guy. They cast in the fire our land. That's going to prevent the Chrysalis. That's annoying. So now I could probably just play a Refurb. I could Wildfire, but that doesn't give us a block or anything. I think we're just going to do this, hope that we don't lose our bridge again, we can get a Chrysalis down, and then hopefully we can find some life gain, whether the Storm or the like. Discarding a Synth. Another Tomb Raider. Probably deciding if they want to bolt this or bolt us. Casting the Fire. Yep. They didn't use it on our bridge, though. So we're at 5. But we get to play some blockers. Hopefully we can stabilize here. And then our card draw can find us a Weather the Storm. Ren's Resolve is not what we want to see. Bushwhacker and Mountain's not the worst. Bushwhacker does let us take 2 damage. We can only block one of the... Well, we can only eat one of these, which will be this guy, I guess. If they have a Fire Blast, obviously we'll die, but... Hoping that isn't the case. Eat their Forge Master. We go to 3. Come on, give me some life gain. Refurb is not bad. Play a Wellspring. Double Refurb. Yeah, I mean, it takes their card. It gives us blockers. If they top deck a Lightning Bolt, we will lose. Okay, but we do get that. We just need to dodge a Lightning Bolt 1 time. Well, 2 times, because of this blood token. Okay, they're going to swing. Which I will gladly trade everything off. They have a Burning Tree Emissary. Alright, we're not dead. Give me some life gain. Toxin Analysis would be good. Of course, a Weather the Storm would be great. Refurb. Refurb is 1 mana to draw cards. Let's start with that. Cleansing Wildfire. Let's draw 2. There's a Weather. Perfect. Alright, so I'm going to play a Krark. I'm going to Weather the Storm to gain 12, and that should be game. Play a bridge. Swing for 4. Alright, that was a close one. But we ended up getting there. Hello, which one do you think is better today? Grixis Affinity or Jund Wildfire? I think Jund is better, personally. But I don't think Grixis is bad, and Grixis can still put up great results and stuff. I think it's mostly just because... Like, I think their power level is about the same in general. But I think Affinity is easier to counter, just because every deck has Artifact Hate in the sideboard, pretty much, and you just bring in those Artifact Hate pieces, and then, like, you know, you can just get a win off of a Dust to Dust or a Cast in the Fire or 2. Whereas Jund has similar vulnerabilities. Like, Dust to Dust is good against Jund, but it's not always backbreaking. Whereas Dust to Dust is great on turn 3 because you can exile 2 lands, or it's great on turn 10 because you can exile 2 Mirror Enforcers. Against Jund, it can be good on turn 3 if they hit 2 bridges, but that's not always the case. And it can be good on turn 10 if you can hit like 2 refurbs or a refurb and a Blood Fountain, but that's not always the case. You can't take Chrysalis with it and things like that. So, yeah, I kind of think they're similar power levels. I think Grixis is a lot faster than Jund. Jund is kind of the slower mid-range / control variant. But, yeah, I think it's harder to counter. I judged an 80-player Pauper event a few weeks ago. There were 0 Jund players. That is surprising. How many Grixis players were there? This hand's okay. I've been to... Like, I was just at a 42-player Another Win a Duel last week, and 42 players... I didn't get exact breakdowns, but I think there were like 4 Jund players or something. And also definitely at least 2 or 3 Grixis players. 2 Grixis. 80 players. What were they playing? That's crazy. Yeah, I guess we did have a ton of mono red at the Win a Duel. I played against 3 mono red players, so I wouldn't be surprised if there were like, 8 to 10 of them. But there were different mono reds. I played against Red Rally, Mono Red Madness, and also like Red Axes. Nested Shambler, so we're against some Black Sack. They're on a mulligan. Shambler's not a bad one to start with, though. Obviously, I've played a lot of Black Sack against Jund. Jund is generally favored if we can find a Krark plus Toxin, although I don't have Toxins in the main deck, which will make this a little harder. But if all they have is a couple Shamblers, I'm not too scared at the moment. Another Refurb, so next turn I get to take 2 cards in their hand, playing 2 Refurbs. That's pretty good. And is Gixian Infiltrator super good on Jund? It's the only card that I don't have. You can definitely play the deck without Gixian Infiltrator. I don't think it's... Ooh, okay, they're cycling an Unearth here. I don't think it's mandatory to play. I think the deck with just 4 Refurbs, 4 Chrysalis, and maybe like a Hydra or 2 didn't generally have enough threats for a lot of people. Like, it was, sometimes you'd go several turns without drawing a threat. And so the Gixians are just trying to solve that a little bit, going up in the number of threats. But, I mean, people played Fungal Colossus as an alternative. You could just do that 2 Hydras or Sagu Wildling. Like, you do not have to have Infiltrator by any means. All right, Wildfire makes things interesting, because I could Wildfire and get green, and next turn I could Chrysalis, which is probably the best. Or I could just double Refurb, but they still have 4 cards in hand. It's not like it's the best thing ever. Next turn I Chrysalis, and then the following turn I can Infiltrator. I think that is probably for the best. So let's just go for this, getting green, and pass. When I played in a 44-player event, I faced both Orzhov and Mardu Glintblade. Nice. Good to know that Glintblade is still around. Top 3 archetypes were Mono Red Madness, Elves, and Blue Terror. None made top 8. Sounds like a very interesting top 8. Yeah, definitely the events I've been at, Mono Red Madness, Elves, and Blue Terror have been pretty high too. But Jund has also been pretty prevalent. They have the stamina, so clearly have a way to sack it as well. I'm just getting into Pauper. Used to play a lot of Modern 10 years ago. I have a Mono Red Madness and an Elves deck. Girlfriend never played before. Would these decks be good for her to learn? Yeah, I mean, it depends on, like, skill level if your girlfriend's never played Magic at all before. I would say that might be an unbalanced matchup, because Elves usually loses pretty hard, in my experience. Not that I play either deck a ton, but Mono Red Madness can kill Elves pretty easily because they have so many removal spells that it might be unfavored. But that, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with it being an unfavored matchup, like if you were to give your girlfriend the deck that's in a better position. So if you give her Madness and you're playing Elves, if you have a higher skill level because you've got more experience, then that might be an okay match at that point. But if you give her Elves and then crush her, that's going to be probably less fun. So, but I don't think either of those decks are the most complex you'd ever face. Relatively straightforward in some ways. So I think they're probably okay decks to learn with. We used to have Esper Cryoblade player in our local league, but he quit Pauper. Oh, well, that's a bummer. I definitely still play Esper quite a bit. I feel like it's had some tough luck online recently, but it's still, I've found, really good in person usually. Alright, this Vampire's getting things scary because I could just die to a Rite of Consumption right now. So I would love to find a cast down, Krark, or Makeshift Munitions. So I could play a Gixie Infiltrator to grow off of like spawn and stuff as I sacrifice, but I don't think I even need that. I really just need to hit some of those things. So let's play a Wellspring and sack a spawn. We'll go for a draw 3. For sure didn't think about the matchup when I got him. I just like the decks. Yeah, that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, you know, if those are the two decks you're going to have playing against each other, it might be less fun for one of you. All right, we got the cast down, which is nice. So now I really wanted to make sure, like, if I didn't get the cast down here, I could still play an Eviscerator's Insight and then cast down. But since I got it, now I'll just play the Infiltrator so it can start growing. They obviously might not have a Rite of Consumption, but, like, I would just die to that right away. I guess I could have waited. If they started sacrificing everything, I probably should have. If they started sacrificing everything, clearly going for a Rite, then I could have just cast down in response. And that would have been a better way to do it, but that's not what I did. I don't play against Black Sack a lot, so I know obviously how it works from the other side, but from this side, I'm like, what is this deck? There's a Beetle and an Unearth. That's pretty good. Another cast down. Alright, so we're going to sandbag that one. Let's play a Lembas. Another Chrysalis is good. It does grow their Beetle, but it grows our Chrysalis. And our Infiltrator. I think we keep it. Play Chris. Swing with these guys. Then, if they really wanted, they could definitely make the Vampire big enough to eat one or both. Not both, but either one of these they want. But then I could just cast it down in response. They could also maybe do the same with the Beetle if they really go all in on it. But if they sacrifice everything to make a giant Beetle and a Vampire that shrinks down, and then I kill the Beetle, like, that's obviously going to be good for me. Block and block. Okay. They sack the Squirrel. I'm happy to trade these guys. They sacrifice another. So I'm going to sacrifice these guys. Let's see, I am growing the Beetle. Need to make sure the Beetle doesn't get big enough. It's going to be a 5/5. They're going to sack another. See, 5, 11. I think we're going to be fine. So I'm going to sack this. Look like we're going for the trade again. And then if they sack one more, then I'll cast down the Vampire. Or maybe I just let it go and I cast down the Beetle. Well, I'll pass priority either way. Yeah, they sack again. So this is going to be... I think I just cast down the Vampire. The Vampire is still the scarier one for a Rite Consumption, the Beetle is still very far away from killing us there. So we deal no damage, but we ate a lot of their guys. Was that win a duel in Tennessee or Indiana? If so, what store? I think going to go into the next one. It was in Kentucky, actually. Louisville. But they've done 2 of them now. Store's called Through the Decades. It's been pretty fun. They're picking off the refurb. I'm probably going to try to do another tournament report for this last one because it was just on Saturday. It'll probably be at the end of the week here. Alright, 8 damage coming in. Bit unfortunate to lose a Chrysalis to this guy, but I can't take it. They have no cards, I guess. If they don't top deck a Rite of Consumption, I'll be fine. If I go to 5, yeah, I think we're going to chance it. So here we get to play a refurb to draw a card. Play a refurb to draw a card. Then we get the Krark. Okay. Oh, does that just win? Because I can make it so they can't have any blockers. 10, 15, yeah, that's just going to be lethal. Alright, we'll do that. Sacrifice. So I can wipe all their blockers because Carrion Feeder can't block. And this is already 15 damage, so I only have to pump the Infiltrator by 3. Then we'll get in for lethal. They can, of course, sacrifice all this to build up these 2, but it's not going to matter. And I do need to sacrifice 3. I guess I actually have Insight. I have Landscape to sacrifice to pump this. So definitely timely there. Alright, we get Toxin and go for the Throat. Spellbomb, not super necessary. Duress, don't love that. Breath Weapon can be pretty mediocre. Every so often it can be pretty good, but Pulse of Marasa, I mean, Life Gain could be decent. I think with 3 Krarks, 2 Toxin, 6 go for the Throat or Cast Downs, we probably don't need the Breath Weapon. That's going to be my assumption here. And so we'll just cut 1 Insight. Ooh, double Krark is pretty good. Not to mention Wildfire. Definitely going to keep this one. Starting with a Carrion Feeder. Another Wildfire. Let's see what they got. Infestation Sage. Swing for just 1. Go for a Wildfire. Getting a red. They go for Village Rites. One of the best ways to fight Krark is sadistically on an insect, so if they are able to get that going, they could be in an okay spot. Beetle Shambler's pretty good. What about Esper Cryoblade? Is this the moment in the meta for it to shine? In my experience, no. I've been trying it a lot, and it just feels like it dies to a lot of the combo decks and a lot of the aggro decks. Sadistically on the Shambler. See, if they put it on the insect, it could survive the Krark. But here, I mean, I guess I don't have Death Touch. I don't have that many artifacts. I mean, we could be in some trouble, actually. Without Death Touch, let's see, we play a Krark and we play Wellspring and then a Krark. We sacrifice 1. They sacrifice this. Then I sacrifice again. They have to sack this. Then I sacrifice again. I think I might be okay. Play a Wellspring. Yeah, I don't know. I've played a lot. I've been trying to play more Esper recently, and it just feels like every time I go up against Mono Red Madness, in my experience in testing, I feel like that was not a bad matchup, but then recently it's been really rough. Spy has always been kind of a tough match. Terror even is generally a favored match, but has been getting a little worse, so I don't know. I'm looking into trying something different for the deck. It's sad, it's a nice deck to play with. I love it still. But yeah, it is a bit tough. Alright, we're gonna have to sack our lands, but we can get most everything here gone, I think. Sack the insect. To grow everything, we're gonna sack the bridge. Then they gotta sack something. I guess they can sack the beetle, actually, because the Shambler's better. And then we're gonna sack again. They could sack the Carrion Feeder to itself, and then the Shambler will survive as a big guy. It's not the worst play ever, but yeah, they do go for it. 5/5 Shambler's pretty good. They swing for 5. We get a cast down. Okay. That's actually really good, because, I mean, I don't want to sacrifice our land here, but I could cast this down and then Krark for 1 to wipe the board. It's a way to survive. Did you know Duskmourn has 0 Pauper legal multicolored cards? Not specifically, but I think there are a lot of sets that don't have multicolored commons. But that is interesting. Yeah, I think I'd rather... I shouldn't have played my land if I was thinking about doing something else, because I might just want to play a Limbus to look for something, and then so I don't have to sacrifice my land to the Krark. Sure. Finally some Jund. So happy to see it. Yeah, I'm a fan. Go for the Throat's pretty good too. I guess we'll just keep that, and I'll play this. Now, it might not have been great to play, actually, because they could have Tragic Slip or Snuff Out to kill it before I've killed this and then turn it into a bunch of small guys. Yeah, that was a mistake for sure. Well, that could be a problem. Bridge, pass. Upkeep, we're gonna go for the Throat. They have a stamina. Yep. But it wouldn't matter if I had a Krark. I really don't know why I played the Krark there. That was not good. I have one Krark left. And that's what we're hoping to get. Grab green, cast down. I can cast down one of these. I'm going to die anyway. Alright, that was just... Don't know what I was thinking. If I just waited to play the Krark, because there's no reason to play it, and then I'd cast that down the next turn, then I'd wipe the board, that would have been an easy win. Alright, this one's okay. We have cast down, which is nice. Start with a bridge, and pass. They have a carrion feeder. Could just cast it down. Generally, when I lead on a carrion feeder, it's because I have another or an unearth or something. But if they don't, then it's pretty good to kill right away. I don't know. It's hard to know if I should play like I'm playing against myself playing the deck, because like again, I would not play that without like another sack outlet or an unearth or like something. But sometimes, you know, I play the deck a lot more than most people, and so if they just lead on that and don't have another sack outlet, maybe it's not a big deal. But in any case, they do have a vampire. Chances of us dying to a vampire with them having nothing else on the board is pretty much zero unless they have like a dark ritual. So we're just going to play a Wellspring here. Next turn I get a couple refurbs down. There's a Mesmeric Fiend. Okay. So they probably take a refurb. They could take an Insight or something, but I feel like I'd probably want to just take the blocker. I don't know. They do. Chris. Play refurb. Play a landscape and just pass. So in case they try to kill this, or I want to block and chump block, I can sacrifice. But if I end up wanting to sacrifice the Wellspring, I can do that too. There's the Link Breaker. So yeah, we get to hold back the vampire. If they attacked with it, I could block. They have to sack a Link Breaker, and then I'd still just sacrifice the refurb. And they'd lose a guy, which is not super valuable for them. Get some pretty nice draws here. So I'm just going to play a Chrysalis and hold up draw spell / go for the Throat. I'm still not really worried about us dying, but theoretically if they stamina this on the end step, sack it, untap, escape tunnel for unblockable, sack a bunch, then rights, they would still need one more sack, so I don't know. Theoretically there's a possibility they could have the right cards to kill us here, but going for a Village Rights, totally fine. I could go for the Throat now while they're tapped out. I think Vampire is risky enough that, like, if they have to sacrifice even one or two guys to it, I'd rather just, like, have the go for the Throat for after the fact. Beetle is pretty good, though, to go along with it. Pump on the Vampire. Well, we're going to block it. I mean, I could just block with a Spawn, but I think I'd rather they just have to sack a bunch of stuff here, which will grow the Beetle when I sacrifice my Spawn and stuff. It's probably fine, though. We'll sack one Spawn. And I'll let these trade if they want to do that. They're not sure if they want to do that. I feel like they probably want to sacrifice to keep it alive, but they are losing fodder. And my goal, I probably will just let this eat the Chrysalis, and then I'll cast down, or I'll go for the Throat the Beetle. Because if they have one Vampire and an Insect, but not a 5/5 Beetle, then I'm really not too worried about it. Stamina on the Vampire. Sure. So now I could just cast down the Beetle. They sack it to the Vampire. The Vampire lives anyway, so it doesn't actually matter about the stamina. Or I could just cast down the Vampire. They sack it to itself, and then they have a 4/4 Beetle. 1/4/4 Beetle I'm not that worried about, though. Yeah, I think we'll just cast down the Vampire. It's kind of tough. Both of them are, like, not super useful. Like, a 4/4 Beetle, if they then have a Carrion Feeder, is, like, pretty good because it can grow a little bit, but I have chump blockers for it and stuff. 1 vampire with only a little bit of fodder isn't too scary either, but, well, we got to cast down right after, so that's pretty good. We get to refurb their last card, which is a Tragic Slip. Then we get to cast down the Beetle. And if they want to keep playing, they can, but that's pretty good for us. Let's just play a Wellspring, play a land, and pass. Hopefully catch another stream soon. Yeah, I'm going to try to do another stream next week, if not sooner. So, thanks for hanging out. I'll see you later. Opponent said it was an honor losing my league to you. If by losing the league they were like 4-0 and I cost them the trophy, it's a real bummer. But we did get there 3-0. Every match has been 2-1. I believe I've thrown at least 2 of these games, but come to Paupergeddon, I would love to. I don't think I have that kind of money at the moment, but I would definitely love to do that eventually. Alright, we have reasonable hand. A bit of a weird one with none of our, I would say, developing 2-drops. Like, obviously we have removal, we have a creature, and these guys kind of function as 2-drops, but none of our Wellsprings or Draw 2s or anything like that. Okay, Spellbomb's nice, because I can play a 1-mana refurb. It looks like we might be against the Mirror, or it could be Grixis. I could just play an Infiltrator. We're only on 1 black mana, so I'm certainly playing something black, but obviously I'm doing that regardless. Gixien can be the most damage quickest. Not that I'm currently sacrificing anything. I think we're just doing that. We don't need the Spellbomb down yet. If they want to like cast it down or something right away, that's fine. They have a Spellbomb and a tap land. The Mirror, indeed. Okay, that's a good draw. So I'm just playing this refurb and draw Forge Bridge. So like I said, a weird hand because we didn't have any of these types of 2-drops, and honestly in the Mirror, a lot worse. Like, we have some pressure and stuff, but we really want to go toe-to-toe with value with them. But if they spend their turns playing Wellsprings and we're attacking for a bunch, maybe we'll be okay. We do get in a lot of free damage here, and a Krark. Play a refurb. I could crack the Spellbomb. Doesn't do much, it just gives me a counter. I think I'd rather just hold up this cast down, so if they play a Chris here, I can just kill it on the end step. Okay, they're going to draw 2. I mean, they are using a lot of their mana just spinning their wheels. They could get a Krark of their own to wipe our ground creatures. They play a Slagwood's Bridge. Alright. They could have Galvanic Blast up. That doesn't change much. I am just going to crack this to draw a card and get a counter. Looking to be a fast game, so it might not be relevant to hold it for later. Landscape, Chrysalis. 1, 2, 3, 6. We can hit for 11 right now. I could just hit for 9 and I get to keep these 0-1s around, but I don't think I need them. Ooh, well, I meant to tap not the Landscape because I wanted to get an extra damage off of that. But whatever. We are just going to... And if we are going to leave something up, we might as well have left up the cast down, but it was just a mistake. Let's crack these. Put them to 4. Like, that means that the refurbs are lethal. They could play a Krark, try to give it Death Touch, but I can sack something to my Krark before to get rid of the Death Touch, so they can't gain any life off of that. They would have to gain life off of Lembas, which should be really expensive, a Pulsamoras, which they can't currently use. They're in a tough spot. Maybe this aggro starts working. It appears to be, anyway. They have their 4th Wellspring, I think. Yep, whole playset. Alright, I guess that hand did pretty well. Against the Mirror, we get Troublemaker Oofs, Duress, Go for the Throat. I could do Toxins with Krarks, but I think it's probably better to just get rid of Krark. Just because we have guys that don't want to die to Toxin, and they don't have the most creatures. I'd rather just the single target removal, I think. I could bring in a Spell Bomb. Probably don't need that many, though. Pulse. I think we get rid of Pulse. We don't really need the life. The Recursion is nice, but we already, without playing Blood Fountains, we don't really care about our graveyard too much, so if they bring in all their Spell Bombs or keep them in, the only thing they're going to be hitting is, like, Eviscerator's Insights, and I'm not too worried about that. Now, of course, I don't know if they play Blood Fountains. They could also be off of them, in which case we could be doing the same and maybe being a mistake with the Spell Bombs. Maybe I take them all out. I kind of like everything else. Maybe that's crazy. I mean, if we see a bunch of Blood Fountains and Pulsamarasas and stuff in Game 2, we'll probably bring some of those back in, but let's give this a try. This hand is bad, I think. But I mean, I know. Okay, we have a choice here. Do we want to just keep all card draw, or do I want to keep the makeshift? Makeshift can be really good in this match. Not so much for picking off utility things, but just for winning the game later. If I put it on the bottom, we don't have that many ways to shuffle, so I probably won't see it. Kind of just want more card draw, though. But Lembas is not card advantage, and we don't need the life gain. I think I can get rid of a Lembas here, actually. They're going to play a Lembas, like a loser. We get a Cleansing Wildfire. Well, if I had a bridge, that'd be nice. Obviously starting with a Wellspring. Well, there's red mana, but still no bridge. Offering the Lembas. Looking for a land drop, it seems. And they play a Draw Swords Bridge. Duress. Okay, I can play Duress, but then if I want to play an Offering, which I probably do, I need to sacrifice... I can't sacrifice the landscape for red. That's probably fine. Let's see what they got going on. Duress of their own, Avenging Hunter, Fanatical Offering, Chrysalis. So next turn Chris, the following turn Hunter. Can't do much about that, but we're going to take their card draw. And, I mean, I guess they get to Duress us back. Well, not if they want to play Chrysalis, not this turn. It would be next turn. They do go for the Duress. I guess if they want to take Fanatical Offering, I just go for an Insight, so let's just let it go. They take Wildfire. That was my most useless card, I think. So, I mean, if I get a bridge, it would be decent, but currently not looking to get one. Play Forest. They have a Troublemaker Oof. That was their draw for turn. Get rid of our Vault. Well, that is annoying. Gonna make it tough for us to compete with this Avenging Hunter. Refurb's a good draw for that reason, though. And we get a Wildfire. Okay, well, I'm playing this. I'm playing Refurb so that I can... I guess they would need an untapped land to play Hunter next turn, but just in case. And I can sack Landscape for green. And then if we get an untapped land, we can play Chrysalis. Play their bridge, and they play Chris. And they're going to swing for 2, which I'll take. Sack the Landscape for green. Another Refurb. Okay. So I guess we... Cleansing Wildfire. Then play another Refurb. Can't get Chris down, but then 2 of these. I guess we'll get red. So hoping for a land there. They either have to discard the Hunter, which they might, seeing as I have 2 flyers, or they will discard the other thing, which could be relevant. It was a swamp. Next turn they can play a Hunter, and I can take the initiative. I'd be hoping to find like a cast down to kill the Chrysalis, though, obviously. I'm just glad Hunter didn't come down on like turn 4, because it would have been really difficult, but it still could be a problem here. Sacrifice a couple spawn. There's the Hunter. Gets a mountain. No attacks. I feel like they should swing with the Oof because it can't block, but we do get a cast down. Okay. I mean, obviously, if we cast down Chrysalis and we still attack, we still get attacked back with the Hunters and the Oof, but I think that's fine. We also get a basic here. I mean, they're out of cards. They could have a pretty good card here. I mean, theoretically, they could have like a Breath Weapon, but that would have been even more reason for them to attack with the Oof, so I'm not really confident in that. I could leave one of these back, but it'd trade with an Oof. It's not going to trade with a Hunter, so I don't think that really does quite what I want it to. We're going to get a Swamp. And 4. I'm going to Insight this Wellspring. I could play a Munitions. That doesn't do much yet. If I get a Krark... No, I took Krarks out, so that's not going to happen. But I could get another Refurb, maybe. Oof isn't a terrible draw. It's not great right now. Infiltrator. Okay. Well, next turn we can play... We can take the initiative back... And then we can play Chrysalis and Infiltrator as blockers. That seems decent. They do get to put us to 11. They get to Forge, you know, some scary stuff. But the initiative makes everything scary. They're going to put the counters on the Troublemaker Oof. Reasonable. Somewhat. It makes it so that they're less susceptible to a cast down. But it does allow Chrysalis to block the Hunter. Spawn to block here, chump, sack it, and then we can trade with the Hunter, which could be pretty good. Or I could even map onto the Chrysalis to be bigger than the Hunter. Well, they Wildfire. If they get like a board wipe or some way to kill both our Refurbs, it'd be bad. Ooh, and we get a cast down? This seems pretty good. Okay, I'm going to play this first because if we take the initiative, I'd like a big guy to put counters onto. I think I'm going to also put down our Gixian Infiltrator here. I lose a counter by sacrificing a spawn to it, but this way I get to hold up the cast down. I kind of think, unless they have like a Breath Weapon right now, that these 2 plus cast down is going to be really good to protect the initiative. Yeah, so we're going to put 2 counters on Infiltrator. Yeah, spread them out a little bit. They're going to cast down the Infiltrator. They don't need to be doing that now. but I appreciate that they're letting us know what's coming. Because I still have jump blocker for here, block to trade here, and if they have any pump or funny business, I can cast down. Insight a land. Swing with both. Block, block. Sacrifice. Do I want to trade with the hunter is the question. I guess probably not. Like, I don't hate it, but if I don't trade, depending on what they have, I could maybe attack for 8, and then munitions just finishes them off. Or trap finishes them off, actually. Okay, they have a Chrysalis. Still. Trap puts them to 7. If I get an untapped land, I can still just win right here, I think. Yep, because I can play Makeshift. I have 5 untapped mana. I attack with these. They block 1. I sack that. I can hit them for 5. 1, 2. I only have 5 things to sacrifice. So I could. It's kind of get really close, and we actually lose if they have anything at all. I think we're going to not take that chance. It seems a little too risky for me. Instead, we'll play a Wellspring. Duress. Well, we'll see if they have anything here. They don't. So we could have gotten it, but it's fine. They have a Chrysalis and a Landscape. Let's bargain a Wellspring. Cast down. Alright, well, that's pretty good. Take away one of their green, I suppose. Cast down this. So I can still just kill him next turn reliably. And here, I get to hit for 4, put him to 3. If I attack with a Chrysalis, they have to lose a spawn, but that doesn't really do that much. I think I just put him to 3. Like, theoretically, if they could kill the Troublemaker, hit us for 4, trap us, and then hit us for 2 more, like, we could die, so let's just leave that back. But we're feeling pretty good right now, I think. Limbus, Scribe to the top, and we win the match. Alright. 4-0. Jund doing work. Indeed. It's just, I mean, to me, it's all reliable. Obviously, there's no guarantee you're always going to get a trophy, and I certainly could fall short here, but I've gotten the most trophies with Jund by far. Alright, going into round 5, we have a bit of a wonky one. Depending on the match, card could be really good. We can't actually cast it yet. We do have Wellspring and maybe a turn 4 Chrysalis. I mean, we can only cast 1 card in our hand, so it's already kind of a mulligan to 5. It's not even a very good mulligan to 5. I think we can do better on 6. I think this hand's quite a bit better. It does suck to have to get something sent back. I don't currently have anything I want to sacrifice to this offering, so I think we'll do that. It's amazing how much better the mana feels in Jund than Esper. They are, in fact, against... we are against a deck where Kark is pretty important. It's better the mana feels in Jund than Esper. Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few things different. Obviously, if you're just saying Jund Wildfire versus Jund versus Esper Affinity or Cryoblade. Because with Jund, we get to play Cleansing Wildfire, which fetches, 4 2-mana spells that can fix our mana. We also get to play 4 landscapes, which are 3-color lands. You get to choose which color you want. And in Esper, you have a lot more dual lands, but you don't, if every single time you had a Cryogen Relic on turn 2, it instead did Wildfire stuff, it would, the deck would feel a lot better in that way. And that's a trade-off that you have to take, that and not playing the, I can't speak, not playing landscapes because you're playing all affinity, right? So definitely just add red for Wildfire, clearly. Yeah, I did play that deck at one point. It was not very good, but it was funny for sure. Yeah, it's definitely a trade-off, and I would love to have an equivalent of this and landscape in the affinity shell, but it's not meant to be. All right, we get another Wildfire. So, I mean, I'm playing this bridge here. I could Roost Seek for a basic. Just wondering if I want to do that. This is a 3/3 that gains us 3 life, which is not bad. I have the mana to get to it eventually, but I could also grab a Swamp, and then next turn I could play double Refurb. That might be better. They don't have the best start. Like, they went with a Reckless Impulse on turn 2, which makes it seem like they don't have any 2-drop that could have dealt damage. And they're probably not going to get tons of value, like full value off of both of these. I think we just cast this. It's pretty important to figure out now, because if I don't cast this now, I'm not going to have the mana to do it. And then, again, the 3/3 with gain 3 life is going to be pretty good, but I think this is probably better. When in doubt, refurb them out. Yeah, it's not a bad call. They synth into an Epicure. Okay, so they can Epicure or they can Bushwhacker with Kicked. They could obviously play them both. They do go for the Bushwhackers. They hit for 4. Obviously, I wouldn't mind also just playing a Wildfire here, but then I'm not going to be able to refurb. We're at 14, which is not super low, but it's getting there. I think we do go for double refurb. Next turn I can go for double wildfire. And then we just have blockers, which is nice. They get rid of Bushwhacker Synth. Yeah, so they had a lot of these later game cards. I think I'll just block both. There are definitely matchups and instances where you don't want to, they Galvanic Blast us, where you don't want to block the Percussionist. They double Galvanic Blast us. Triple Galvanic Blast us. Well, I guess we're glad we took the block. They have a Lightning Bolt. It's just, okay. Well, I guess we're dead if we don't find, I don't think there's anything we can find. Lembas is too expensive for life gain. Toxin Analysis is in our main deck. They have no cards. If I find Pulsa Marasa off the top, no, because I have to play Refurb for 2 mana, or I could play the Slagwood Bridge and then I can't play Pulse. I literally play their guys as quickly as possible and I blocked very conservatively, and we're just gonna die now. Are you playing Blood Fountain? No, we're not running Blood Fountain. I think we're dead, right? Yeah, I mean, I'll play this, but don't think there's anything we can draw. That is really unfortunate. Okay, they are on rally, so we get all this stuff. We get to clear, not the Kroarks, please. These guys, probably do what we did before. Cut all of this. 12 damage out of nowhere. So if I hadn't blocked the Percussionist, it wouldn't have made a difference, because they would have just drawn that Lightning Bolt. So it would have died anyway. Thought I was playing conservatively. I thought I was going to survive at 14 life, but oof. And then again, we knew that they didn't have a lot of fast, aggressive creatures because of how they were playing on turn 2, which meant that they probably had more burn and other late game stuff. Could Wildfire to draw? Yeah, Wildfire drew us 1, just as the Refurb drew us 1, and it did it for 2 mana. So I could have done that, but like it was the same outcome, and I'd already pretty much calculated there wasn't anything that I could draw anyway, so yeah. I mean, this hand's fine. We're certainly going to bridge first, because we have too many 2-drops we want to get down, but I would love to just draw a land so I can go like Duress 2-drop on turn 3. So play bridge and pass. They have Percussionist again. Let's see what we get, because I could just play an Infiltrator. It can't really block. If they don't kill it and they play like a Tomb Raider, it can block that nicely. I think we're going to have to play the Wildfire, though. It's a pretty good draw. I'm going to go for a black one here because we have a swamp here, because we have a lot of black cards. But if they do like Cast in the Fire this, it'll be a little annoying. Luckily, we get the Draw Search Bridge. It's not a big deal, but anyway. They do rally, so we just need to find a Kroark, as always. We get a Vault. It's tough calls. I could play a Wellspring, and I could play like a... So here I could play double Infiltrator, but they both die to everything. I could play a Wellspring Infiltrator. It still just dies to everything. I could play Infiltrator offering a land, and then the Infiltrator's big enough to block a 1/1. I kind of want to Duress to take another rally or something, but if they then have like a Goblin Bushwhacker, it's kind of bad. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Bushwhacker's bad regardless. I think I Duress to see what's up. Tomb Raider, Bolt, Synth. Okay. Synth is going to be more value. Bolt is fine. We're going to take the Synth. I'm going to play the Infiltrator so that it can block the Tomb Raider. If they want to bolt this, that's fine. It eats some damage. If they don't want to bolt it, that's fine too. Yeah, they do go for the bolt. And Reckless Impulse, hitting double Mountain. Okay, that's pretty good. They have 1 card left, double Mountain on top, and we get a Breath Weapon. Well, I guess here we just play Wellspring, and we're going to pass with Breath Weapon up. There's the Tomb Raider. They play a Mountain. We're going to wipe the board, and they hit a Tomb Raider, which they're going to cast. We get a land. Nice. So I'm going to play Infiltrator and just pass. And then I can instant speed offering Weather the Storm. If they don't cast anything, I probably won't do the Weather, but I assume they'll cast at least one thing here. And then I can also block here because this guy's going to grow by sacrificing this. If they bolt it, then it just adds to our Weather the Storm. Yeah. Yeah, I can't keep it alive in response, but that's fine. Well, I guess I most likely will Weather the Storm, but let's draw our 3 cards first. Yeah, we still will. And Refurb's drawing us cards is pretty decent. So we'll draw one here. Chrysalis. Okay. Well, we're going to play that. Draw another card. Play a bridge and pass the turn. Alright. We win that one. We're going to be on the draw, so let's hope we can survive. Well, it's a one-lander. It does have life gain, ramp, and duress, but it's like a coin toss. It's worse than a coin toss as to whether we get a land. I guess I don't have the hypergeometric calculator up. I don't know what the chances are, but it's not worth taking. This one is the same thing. Far worse, but okay. Third one-lander in a row. Can't do it? Yeah, I agree with you. This is pretty frustrating, but this one is not good either. I could definitely have a better 4-card hand. Best 4-card hand would probably be land, Krark, Wellspring. Well, I guess we're keeping this one. I guess 2 lands was not meant to be, because this is our 4th one-lander in a row. Certainly can't go any lower than this. Oof. I think we keep the 1-drops we can play. 20 lands, plus a Saga Wildling. So 21, kind of, but yeah. Yeah, we haven't had too many problems. I mean, we had the occasional mulligan, but like, I play 21 lands so that does not happen. They have the Burning Tree. Well, I guess the trophy was not meant to be. Unlucky. I guess in case they have nothing at all, we'll wait one more turn, because if we get like a land, maybe we get there. Alright. Oh, look. I mean, I guess if we get like a mountain or a swamp and then I can Krark Toxin, we still got this. Oh, yeah. We definitely still got this. Let's see if we just get bolted to death. Yep. Oh. Oh, come on. They didn't have the last bolt. They could have a Galvanic. But if I drew... I mean, I guess right now I'm technically not dead. Block. But no, I mean, we're dead. If I had the land for the Toxin and then I could go up to 9, maybe we have a shot. That's a very disappointing ending. Look, obviously you want the trophy. It's fine if I don't get the trophy. But to not get the trophy because we mulliganed down to 4 with 1-landers and then got Cast on the Fire is a bit unfortunate. Well, the deck is good. We still went 4-1. So, you know, obviously a good record. I think 21 lands is plenty. I don't know why I accidentally double-clicked on that. 21 lands is plenty. Sometimes you get unlucky. Like MTG, no, am I right? Yeah, very true. I do like the Bajuka Bog being in the deck usually, but I'm also fine with the Wildling seems decent. I've never played against Gardens with the Wildling where it's actually been relevant that I can't mill out, but that's okay. I think we'll play another match. So I've been, or another league. I've been doing, what have I been doing? I've been theming the weeks that I've been doing just for fun. So last week was Esper week. And every deck was either Esper or a Esper guild. Then this week is Monocolored week on the channel. And then next week is going to be Jund, just because I already happened to play 2 different Jund decks, I believe, that were not Wildfire. And now I played Wildfire, which is going to go up next week. So, to that end, we're going to play... I want something a little quicker, so I think we're just going to do Gruul. Some Gruul ramp. Let me close out the Jund video, though. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.